sis, you okay?
So welcome back to a new episode of Hey Sis, you okay? Sis, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you doing, sis?
Doing good. It's been a minute since we've been on, but it's glad to be back. Welcome to Black History Month.
Yes.
And it's also Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month.
Yes.
And with us today, we have our great staff member, Jalen Scott. Jalen, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Jalen, of course. I'm the Youth Program Coordinator, DVHRT Coordinator, and life coach, DV advocate.
Yeah.
And I've worked for our sister's house for about 18 months.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
Yep, you do a lot here, and we appreciate that and love everything that you're doing here.
Yes.
How you doing today, Jalen?
I'm doing pretty good. Just got life stuff going on, but it was kind of nice being in the office alone today since we were filming. I got to get some work done and kind of just have a quiet workspace, which was nice. But
Good.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for being on the episode today. We wanted to have you on because Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month is kind of in your wheelhouse and kind of the services that you provide. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping you can enlighten our community.
Yeah.
It's a big issue, and it's something that we decided to tackle. And so in what you've been learning about it, what does a healthy relationship look like in real life?
in real life, a healthy relationship, I feel like the most important part is communication. Making sure you're communicating your needs, communicating your boundaries, and just overall how you're feeling on each particular day. So there's things that could be bothering you just throughout the week, and it could be affecting your relationship. So ensuring that your partner or your friend or coworker or whoever, and making sure that they know what those boundaries are, what those needs are, and what you're going through is important, so that they can hopefully do the same for you, because it is a two-way street.
That's
so
right.
As long as the other person is doing it as well, then it leads to a healthy relationship.
Excellent. I love that.
That's awesome, Jalen. And you're doing a lot of work with youth in the schools. You work with a very diverse population, I would say, from probably starting from 12 to all the way up to 24. So you're really in the midst of the age differences. So in that, do you think teens really take their relationships seriously? Do they take dating relationships serious? How do you see the teens really coming together with these dating relationships, I would say?
That's a great question. I feel like the emotions are there, like they are feeling these emotions, and like they, for like the dating relationships, like they truly have strong feelings of love towards these,
Right.
Towards their partners. But I think what is lacking is the skills and experience of being in a relationship where they just don't really know how to set their boundaries and communicate their needs, like I was mentioning before. And I feel like it leads to situations, and I've got one situation in my head that I'm thinking about with one of the kids I've been working with, where he's telling me his girlfriend's getting mad at him because he went and like hugged like his girl best friend. He's saying like, oh, it's not a big deal, but it's like, it's not about how you feel, it's about how your partner feels. So it's like, if she thinks that's a big deal, then you need to take that into account. And if you're not willing to change or to adapt your ways, then maybe that relationship's not the best for you, because you're refusing I guess you're just refusing to meet a need of the other person in the relationship. So I think that they do take it serious, but I feel like with relationships it comes like experience over time of being in a relationship will help them out.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. Where do he's already the girlfriend's already getting jealous of him hugging, knowing that's his best friend. Where do you think they learn these concepts of what love is supposed to look like?
I feel like the media has a huge hand in what they view relationships as well as the relationships of the people in their life. So the main one being their parents or their older siblings, or just like their older adults in their life. They're like, oh, like my adult in my life is doing things this way, so I think that's what it's supposed to be like. Where, I mean, that's not necessarily the worst place to look. I mean, if it's a healthy relationship, it's great, but if it's a toxic relationship, it's not, which kind of leads into the pathway of teen dating violence leading into domestic violence as an adult, is where they experience these things as a young person, and then as they carry that into adulthood, they think that that's normal.
Right.
So I feel like if you're it's good to look at, obviously the positive parts of media and then the positive relationships that you have in your life, and kind of based off of that. But it's kind of our job as adults are to show them what it looks like and not give them, false ideas of what it should look like. So
Yeah, and I think that's very true, and definitely speaks to the work that we do. And as we know that children do witness, they do see what's going on in the home, even if parents don't think they do. So I think that's very important on what you're speaking on, Jalen. But I want to bring it back to the youth you're working with real quick. You're saying that their girlfriend is getting jealous because of them hugging their girl best friend and things like that. So when does jealousy kind of cross that line of I'm just being jealous to then going to controlling, or when jealousy isn't so-called cute anymore in a sense, on TikTok, online, women are like, oh, I love having a protective boyfriend, I love having a protective man. In the comments, they'll be like, no, he's jealous, he's controlling. Yeah. So kind of where do you see that fine line?
I feel like it's hard to step into the shoes of like every relationship, but I feel like with jealousy, I feel like if you're getting jealous off of something that might be there, that's the issue. Whereas like if you're jealous of something that with like tangible evidence of like this happened, I feel like that's a lot different than just like the speculation of that. Because when you're constantly speculating, I think that it makes the other person in the relationship like question everything they do, and when they start questioning the things they do, I think that's when it starts getting to that toxic controlling, because then they're gonna be like, okay, so if they think this, then I got to do it like this. So then it's like they're basing their just everyday decisions off of what they think this person wants. But as we know in like the toxic relationship, it's like it's never going to be good enough. So it slowly and gradually leads into this this person being controlled like pretty much exclusively by like their partner. So
yeah. I know one of the things we've seen with our diversion youth, we've had a couple of cases where the youth has had a protection order put against them because they're exhibiting domestic violence. And I mean, some of these kids are almost stalking. And like we had one kid that was sitting outside where the girl worked at her job, sitting outside, just sitting there. And so how do we prepare our youth to be ready to accept these? I mean, these things are happening to them. So what kind of education or tools do you think we need to have in place to kind of prevent some of these things, or kind of make kids aware that, hey, your behavior is becoming criminal?
Yeah. I feel like that kind of falls into like our healthy relationships curriculum that we have at our sister's house, where we need to teach them about, how to love themselves, and then how they should be treating other people, and like giving them like the knowledge of like, okay, what is a toxic relationship? What are the behaviors that are part of a toxic relationship? So I feel like once they start learning about it from not just like, I guess, from the criminal point of view, I guess like not looking at their relationship as a whole and just like, what is a healthy relationship to you? And then we add on to that, and then once they kind of instill that in themselves, like, hey, a healthy relationship is, not showing up outside of their work and waiting for them, or, not constantly calling and texting, and then it shows like the impact of that. And it's like, I feel like the reason that they're doing it is because they have a need that's not being met, and they don't, as a young person, it's like that might have not seen what a healthy relationship looks like. It's like their needs not being met, so it's like I really want to see this person, so I'm going to wait outside of their work. When it's like, if you take a step back and look at it, it's like, wait, that's not good for anybody involved, right? Because when the other person's at work, it's like they should only be able to focus on their work and not worried about, okay, when I leave, like, is this person going to say some things to me? Are they going to accuse me of things? So I feel like in our curriculum, it's like communicating your needs. That's could be like a good avenue to take rather than just showing up at someone's work. And if they communicate their needs and they can't be met, then I guess like the relationship will fall. But that's way better than end up stalking and then getting charged and having to do your diversion program because of that.
Right. That's a good point.
That is a good point, Jalen. I really like the fact that you're honing on that. Communicate your needs, and if they can't be met, then that maybe is not the relationship for you. And that's all bringing it back to your needs matter in a relationship, and you want to be with someone who takes those needs into consideration. But kind of on that same topic with meeting your needs and kind of what Kelly was saying with the increase of diversion cases we're seeing, we're also seeing an increase of child pornography being spread, I guess, in a way. Young girls taking pictures of their bodies and sending it to a trusted partner, and that trusted partner is sending it around the school. So with all of that, can you kind of talk on how social media is changing how teens view relationships as a whole, especially with the nudes, I guess, that's going around schools and how that is affecting youth as well?
Yeah. Well, I feel like there's some manipulation that goes into that where, the male in the situation might be like, okay, well, you have to send me these pictures because my last girlfriend did it. And then the current girlfriend's like, I don't want to make him upset. I don't want to do these things. So that's called coercion. And that is, means you're on the track to getting manipulated and then possibly abused physically or emotionally. So I feel like a lot of it is coercion and honestly just them not thinking beyond, I guess, what's going to happen after the picture where, it's like not to, put the blame on the victim or anything, but it's one of those things where it's like you have to understand the risks of what you're doing and knowing the risks that come along with that is very important to keep in mind because it's like, when it leaves your phone and it's on someone else's phone, it's like, you can't necessarily control what they do with their phone. So it's like that risk is always going to be there whenever you're sending any picture, any text message or anything like that, because it can just easily be shared, on a whole school level, especially like, with all the group chats, and it's like you send it to this group chat and then that person's got a group chat, they're sending it there, and it's like things spread very quickly, and I feel like that risk is not taken into account by either party. And it's like if one person's like, okay, don't send this to anybody, but like here's this picture that I got from like this girl or whatever, that just increased the risk because the other person has the picture now, and it's like, then they could send it to somebody like, hey, don't send it, and it's like, it's a slippery slope with the pictures. And I think that we as adults need to just constantly be letting them know like that the things that they put on the internet, the things that they're sending on the internet and posting, that's your digital footprint. It's going to stay, it could follow you for the rest of your life. So they just need to be educated on the risks that are involved when they're doing that, because it's one of the things where there's a lot of things that kids are going to do that we just can't necessarily prevent every single thing that they're going to do. It's especially as they get into like 16, 17, they get a little more independence, and our focus just needs to be on being like, hey, like these are the risks that are involved. We can't prevent you from doing this, and we're not going to be there to stop you every single time, but here's the risks that are involved, and then it's on them to make that young adult decision of if the risks outweigh the benefits or if the benefits outweigh the risks. So
and I think where you're hitting on is I forgot my thought.
Want me to go? Okay. So Jalen, I want to just take it back a little bit. As you can hear, you're very knowledgeable. You have a lot of great skills and abilities. Where did that come from? I mean, you do a lot here because we see all your skills and abilities, but I want everyone to know a little bit more about you and where all this you come from and all that you bring comes from.
Yeah. So I grown up my parents were divorced, so that was just, I was kind of young, so I barely remember it, but the cordial relationship that they still maintained to look after us, I feel like gave me a positive outlook on like how I should be in all of my relationships. Because, you know, if you're able to put all of the unnecessary stuff to the side to focus on, you know, a particular goal, which for my parents was raising us, then, you know, that's all that really matters. And then just going up through high school, and then I graduated, I joined the military, and that's kind of where a lot of like my risk assessment kind of came into play, where like one of the big things that they teach is mitigation of risk. So like what can we do to ensure that we do this in the safest way as possible, because not everything's going to be completely safe, but then also what channels do we have to make it a safer thing, and then carrying that into like just personal choices that you make, I think is super important. And then during my time in the military, I also went to college, and I wanted to be a firefighter, and that quickly that feeling went away, because I'm not too big on like gore and broken bones or anything like that. Like, you know, when I'm watching football on TV, it's like if someone even like twists their ankle a little bit, I like close my eyes and I'd hide myself from it. And I took a class that I heard was an easy A when I was in community college, and it was an education class, and part of that class we had to enter the school and just be a volunteer, hang out with them. I think within the first hour I knew that working with the youth was kind of what my calling was. And when you're working with the youth, I've been doing that for about 4 or 5 years or so, and you kind of just, it's like you want to know more so that you can help serve them better. So, you know, with all this, especially with the high-risk kids that we're working with, it's just important that we're leading them in the right direction and we're being intentional about it. And that's just a little bit about me and kind of my why and where I come from.
Thank you for sharing that. I learned a lot just now, and it really speaks to why you show up and the way you show up every day. So we greatly appreciate that. Anything else about teen dating violence you want to share or we want to know?
I feel like it's more it occurs more often than we know. I mean, I don't have any kids, so I guess for all the parents that might be watching, just to kind of be mindful of changes in behavior. You know, a big one would be like, you know, your child loves painting, for example, and you know, you slowly realize that like they stop painting, or like, you know, that's very unusual for them, and that's when we need to, as adults, come in and ask the tough questions of like, hey, is everything going okay? Right. And, you know, not being too pressing, but also letting them know that we're going to be here for them, because I think support is the biggest thing, and being approachable is also one of the biggest things, because this is kind of a random story, but it's just like being young and not wanting to get in trouble, even though if you tell your parents something, like, you're not going to get in trouble. And like, I was in a situation where I was walking home from school and someone else had hurt me, and I didn't want to tell my parents because I was like, you know, I didn't want to get in trouble. But I think as adults, especially nowadays, is being approachable and knowing that our kids need to be able to come to us and tell us, you know, when things are going on without fear of repercussions. I think that's super important as well. So I feel like
it is very important. So I think that was very important to say. Have those hard conversations. Be approachable. Be real. Talk to your youth, in a sense. Notice their pattern. Notice their behavior, and maybe you can stop what's happening before it gets further down the line.
Yep, exactly.
So, yeah. Well, we want to kind of change the topic a little bit about Jalen and kind of go into some Black history, but we want to kind of learn more about, like, what does Black excellence kind of look like to you? What does that mean to you?
I feel like excellence in itself is just reaching a goal and not stopping there and then reaching the next goal and kind of keep progressing and progressing. And in terms of Black excellence, I feel like just with everything that has happened in America's young history, it's important that we celebrate each goal that has been made, and knowing that Black people were held down for quite a long time, and they still are today. So having this month to celebrate that and to celebrate the strides and bounds that Black people have made in this country is very important.
Yes.
I agree.
I agree.
What does Black history mean to you, Kai?
Black history means to me. It means I get to celebrate where we have come from, what we have been through, the resilience of the community, the innovators that we have, the inventions that we've done.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a celebration of our history, of where we were and where we can continue to go. And I think it showcases, like Jalen saying, the Black excellence, but it's also showcasing the history of us. And that's what I love about Black history.
I do too. Yeah, I just want to quickly acknowledge that, this week we lost Jesse Jackson. And I know there's a little controversy around his passing and things that I've seen lately, but I just want to stay on the positive, because when I was a kid, he was a role model. My mom took me down to Mount Zion Baptist Church in Seattle to hear him speak when I was a kid, and I'll never forget, he did that "I am somebody," and that was powerful, because as growing up in Federal Way, Washington, and going out to Auburn Academy, where I was, only one of a few Black students, that just always stuck. He made us chant that with him, and it was just something that, it was just powerful to be in a room full of Black people, and we were all in there saying, "I am somebody," and that, I'll never forget that. And I saw him, Dennis and I saw him in the airport. We were coming off a flight. I don't even know where we were coming from. I still have my neck pillow on. And I saw he was just standing by one of the gates, and I was like, "Hey, there's Jesse Jackson." And I always spot people. So they was like, "No, it's not." I was like, "Yes, it is." And we walked up to him, and Dennis said, "Can we get a picture?" And he says, "Yeah." So as I was getting ready to take the picture, he said, "No, you come on to get in the picture too." So some man was off to the side, came over, and we took a picture together. And I still have. I put it up when he died the other day. So that was just a really powerful moment. I feel like we lost, our history makers are leaving this earth really quickly, and I just wanted to acknowledge that during this month that we did lose Jesse Jackson, and he was a powerful man, and despite whatever people might think, I have positive feelings about him, and he'll be greatly missed. So
thank you, Kelly, for sharing that beautiful story.
Thank you.
Yes. And thank you, Jalen, for being here and joining us on the Hey Sis, You Okay podcast. Learned a lot, very knowledgeable, great person you are. So thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And I thank you for all your work, Jalen. I probably say it a lot, but I do mean it. I just really love the work that you do and all that you pour into every day that you're here, and just a great staff, and a lucky find that we had from a referral from Ryan. So we'll never forget Ryan for that as well. But so
Thank you.
I feel like birds of a feather flock together.
Yes,
So thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you all. Make sure you stay connected to the newsletter. And for February, we're still having our diaper drive. So go online, sign up, come to the office, and just drop off some diapers. And we'll see you next time on Hey Sis, You Okay?
Hey sis, you okay?